Right. So it's 9 o'clock, which means I'm going to sing the filthiest, dirtiest Irish song that was ever written, right? And this was written about 100 years ago. Now, I mean, in comparison to today's standards with the likes of Miley Cyrus jumping around on a wrecking ball, it's not really that out of line, but it was back then. And it was recorded back in the early 60s and played on the radio once, and the Roman Catholic Church, which absolutely dominated Ireland at that particular time, said, no, we can't have this song going around, because it went against all of their doctrine. And it didn't hit the radio waves again until the mid-80s. And we're going to sing it for you now. Now it's very loosely based on a typical Saturday night spent with Kieran here, our whistle player. A round of applause for Kieran here. And I'll just tell you briefly, right? Now again, metaphors, kids, right? So a young lad meets a girl, he fancies her, she fancies him, but he has nowhere to take her. Isn't that right, Kieran? So he's walking around with this young way lass, trying to telepathically force her to get these words. And she does, she says them. She says, why don't you go back to my mummy's house? He rubs his hands together and he goes, oh, I will indeed, right? Where will I put my horse? She says, I'll show you where you can put the horse. So they get to the house and Mammy takes the horse around to the barn. And then they go into the house. And they keep the chicken and the sheep and the pigs and the hens out. And they find themselves a less soiled bale of hay. And they lay down. And they frolic in the moonlight. But her services were not very well received. Isn't that right, Kieran? So he gets back on his horse, heads off into the frosty wilderness, never to be seen again. There was no Facebook, no Twitter, there was no email, no phone, no way of contacting this guy whatsoever. As you can guess, he became a local hero. We don't heroise him at all, isn't that right, Kieran? He said, yes, we do. But I left this great song, and it's called The Night Visit. We'll give it a go.
Let me go lay out, bubble in the dark, make me go to the Mary.
I got pretty much sums up here on there in the chapter. Good lad is a keeper. Has anybody ever seen Mary Poppins? That was absolutely woeful. One person. Who saw Mary Poppins? There we go then. I'm slightly reassured. You remember the chimney sweep? What was his name? Huh? Bert. What was his real name? Big fan time, jeez. Do you remember when he did the dance with the brush? But ours is better because we have more brushes. So we're going to continue on with a bit of a brush dance, but there's a slight story to it. I have two daughters. I think I mentioned that earlier on. I have a 14-year-old and an 8-year-old. And if me and the wife ask the kids to do anything, it's always the same response. Of the 14-year-old, generally she has some sort of a technological device separating your eyes from her. And the answer is quite simple. Sweetheart, can you do that? Yeah, in a minute. In a minute. The 8-year-old, we tend to stay away from her. She can get quite aggressive. Changes colours and stuff. And if you ask her to do anything, you just gotta stop. Why do I have to do everything? So we just leave her alone. We do it ourselves. But it wasn't like that when we were kids. Because Mammy, she had a magic drawer. And that drawer was full of various appliances ranging from hardened wood to hardened steel. And depending on your response to the particular chore that she would ask you to do, that would kind of dictate which appliance was coming out of the drawer. And these appliances could turn corners. And I could leave you with a massive wealth that you could admire until you walked past the threshold of the front door. As soon as you went outside to show it to somebody, it magically disappeared. Right? But it also wasn't uncommon for us to be rewarded for the chores that we did. And I remember being about 5 years old, helping Mammy do the Christmas table. And then my dad come in and see we did a good job at 5 and give us a bottle of Guinness. We even opened the butters because we were too slow, we couldn't open it. So, with that, imagine I'm sitting on the couch, I'm about 7 or 8 years old. I've got half a bottle of whiskey in me, and a half a bottle under the pillow. And Ma came in, we called her Ma, and she said, get up and sweep the floor before your dad gets home from work, or he'll kill you. And he never would, but she'd have the fear of God me. Oh my Jesus, you jump up off that couch, into the kitchen, get the brush. Walk back into the living room, eye contact with Mammy, make sure she didn't go to the door. Peripheral vision, car coming in the garden, 2 lights. You're sweeping the floor. And I don't know if you know, but alcohol hits you a lot faster when you're younger. And as you're sweeping the floor, the bristles of the brush look like locks of flowing golden hair. The brush goes upside down, on goes a record, and that brush becomes your dance partner. And you think I'm taking the piss, ladies and gentlemen? Please welcome our dancers and the brush dance. Oh, we had some crack when we were younger doing that sort of stuff. Now, that's real. That stuff is real. Can't make that up. Anyway, folks, I'm going to hand you over to our musical director here, Jesus. I'm not even looking at her. But, ladies and gentlemen, on the button accordion, I've already mentioned Kevin and here on the button accordion. This is Pat. Say hello, Pat.
I'm done. I'm done. If you want to bring a check,
I'll bring a hot Pat here.
Alright, take your time.
Because I reckon in the near future, we shan't be seeing too much of him. Because he just very recently, in the last couple of weeks, got married. Won't be long now, Pat. Won't be long now. But not only is he a musical director, he's one of the finest button accordionists you've ever come across in your life. Now this is where we kind of wing it a little bit. We're going to put a couple of tunes together in front of you to show you. Because this music it's taught to us when we're growing up. It's like a language. It's like we're all just speaking together on stage. But this is not rehearsed, this next bit. This is just us winging it. So ladies and gentlemen, will you please put your hands together in the button accordion, Mr. Patrick Bridge.
Did not run through. Can I get a check after that? Yeah. Okay. Oh, yeah, I didn't. Do you want the receipt? No, I don't need the receipt. Okay.
lads? Speak to Jesus. Very good. Well, we know the main lad is Michael Flaherty, but the young wheel lass, her name was June Butler. And there's a dance where she comes out in a soft shoe and kind of floats across the stage. And my daughter saw this and she said, that's the fairy dance. Now, leprechauns and fairies, very, very quick. Right? A lot of you are going to be sticking around Ireland, as I said, you'll probably do the Rinny Kerry, you'll head up around the West Coast, you're going to stop off at the Cliffs some more. And when you get to the cliffs, if you walk out to the edge, not too far, and especially if there's a mist coming up over the cliffs, do not walk into the mist. You think that's kind of obvious, wouldn't you? But it's really not. But if you get out to the edge of the cliffs of Moher and you look right, the next cove is the most beautiful part of this country as far as I'm concerned. And I'm born in Dublin, and it's called Doolin in County Clare. Alright? And when I was younger, I spent a lot of time playing tunes out there, mostly for the summer. And there was a particular musician out there who used to come into the session every night with a brand new tune, an amazing tune. And we'd say, where'd you get that? And he'd say, last night, after the session, I wasn't ready to go home. So I went into the Vahis field. He said, and I took out the instruments and I was playing it. And King Brian of the Leprechauns came to me and he gave me the sequence of notes that are in love with each other. I always love that description of a tune, the sequence of notes that are in love with each other. But this was every night. There was a new tune every night. And at the end of the summer we decided that we'd follow it. And he wasn't like, he was going into the Vahis field, but he was leaving out a part of the story. He was partaking of some of the vegetation that the field had to offer. And within 45 minutes there was all sorts of leprechauns and fairies flying around while he was playing his wonderful tunes. And this is one of those tunes. And ladies and gentlemen, will you please welcome one of our young wee lasses. This is called the Fairy Dance. See it now, can't you? You can see it now. Anyway, look, in Dublin, we're not to do a Dublin song about Dublin people by a Dublin band. You've all seen our River Liffey, the natural source of water for our Guinness. Is it filtered? Is it not? Who knows? But if you have no connection to Ireland at all, no blood, no heritage whatsoever, and you have a pint of Guinness in Dublin, there is a slight possibility that there's anywhere between 1.4 to 1.7 million dogs floating around with you now. That's your initiation into Ireland. Before we had the bridges on the Liffey, you used to pay a boatman to drop you across. But half the time it was just an excuse to get into his boat and to help him drink his whiskey or his buckfast. That was the choice of drink when we were kids. I won't bore you, Google it. But I left this great song about some great people. And if you get a chance, there's a place at the back of the Liffey where they used to drop you up to called the Strawberry Beds. It's still there today. Go around and have a look at the Strawberry Beds, head into the Phoenix Park afterwards. It's a wonderful afternoon. So this song is simply called The Ferryman. Give it a go when I play. Well, the brush of man in the feet, the very man stranded on the key. When the double dogs are dying and the way of life is love, Ollie, it's just like you and me. When the strawberry beds sweet down to the Liffey, you kiss away the waves from my brow. I love you today, and I'm loving over tomorrow. It's the only job I do. You try to never love me. The living man ain't a man to me. Well, it's not that I whisper about the leave that you laugh. It's over, body over, can't you see? Well, the strawberry beds sweet down through the Liffey. You kiss away the waves from my brow. I love you today, and I'm loving over tomorrow. If that were loving, love me. From my brow. I love you today, and I'll love you over tomorrow. You never love me, mommy, love me now. Oh, when I tell the cat, spending days talking, and I wish my Chinese on the phone. Ah, but buddy, we're still living time. We're still young and that never slow, boy, if I'm not so. We're the strawberry beds, sweet down to the Liffey. They kiss away when he's from my brow. I love you today, and I'm loving over tomorrow. If never love me, love me, love me now. We're the strawberry beds, sweet down to the Liffey. They kiss away when he's from my brow. I love you today, love you over tomorrow. If never love me, love me, love me now. If never love me, love me now. Stop that talking. I remember back in it now for a while, and we do understand that after a while, if your ear palate, should I say, is sort of accustomed to the tunes after a while, it can kind of get a little bit monotonous. So we're going to break it down for you, right? You can imagine everything that we're doing, including the dancers, as a fully formed song. We're going to rip the middle out of it. It always started with the dancers' feet. So our dancers are going to come up and they're going to do a piece. And we're going to hand you over to the real Kevin Neal. And he's our percussionist, our full rhythm section down there. And the instrument that he's playing is called the Bowron. Power is the Irish word for death, so it's the death knell, or the death drum, which is anything but. And it's the only instrument that's on the stage tonight that's indigenous to Irish music. So he's going to give you a good, solid demonstration on that. And then we're going to put it back together with jigs and reels. Jigs are in 6/8 times. So right now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And we're taught phrases to remember these rhythms when we're in school. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 becomes rashers and sausages, rashers and sausages. A rasher is a piece of Irish bacon. A sausage. Well, that's pretty much a mystery for all of us, isn't it? You just need it, don't ask any questions. And then we have reels, which are in groups of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Black and Decker, Mammy, Daddy. And that's how we're taught the rhythms. So, when we put it all together, see if you can come onto that yourself. But when we vacate the stage, please put your hands together for our dancers and the acrobatics.